Hey everyone, welcome back to the Successful Lead Generating Coaches Show. My name is Arfan, co-founder of Grow Automate Scale, and I am here today with a new series. Yes, that's right. I am doing an audio series in which we're going to talk about how to do a beta course launch using Facebook ads. Now, caveat here, if you've never done a launch before, I do recommend you doing a launch organically, leveraging the audience you already have first, and then consider going into ads. This is more for those of you who've already done a launch before. You've gone through the process, either with a group program or previous course, and you already have an understanding of the foundation of this. And the reason why is because when you're going into ads, there's a little bit more of a quote-unquote gamble. I don't believe ads is a gamble. I believe it's an experiment. So truthfully, when you're going into this in a beta course launch, here's the scenario and why I'm talking about this, and the importance of a beta launch using Facebook ads for course creators, especially when you've done before. Chances are you are already doing organic promotions. You already have somewhat of a consistent routine for creating content, things like that, and as a business owner who's already been in the game for a little bit, you already have your time allotted to things. So it's not necessarily like you have all this free time on your hand and you're looking to just, hey, let me do a new course. How many else going on? You most likely have something else going on. And what you're looking to do is potentially find a way to increase your income while being able to leverage your time, meaning have your dollars work for you. Have a system in place that's going to automate the process so you can generate results. And here's what it looks like, right? Typically with this is when you use ads, you're advertising your entire company. Your offers is always constantly running, and you can go to sleep, you can be at the beach, and you can see leads coming in. It's a great and wonderful and amazing thing. Now, the reason why we do beta launches is to prove if we have something that's a viable product, meaning that we can sell it to an audience, we can get a pretty good conversion rate, and eventually we can scale it, meaning that we're going to be able to hit our income goals, right? Let's be real. The reason why we're selling courses is, yes, we do want to help people. Yes, we want to make a difference. Yes, we want to impact lives. That's one of the reasons why I work primarily with coaches, because I get a lot of fulfillment. I get a lot of just... I start beaming when we add X people, even if it's just 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 into a program, because now that's a person that had a pain, a challenge, a situation. They needed help and they're looking for a solution, and boom, we were able to connect them with the coach that is able to give them, that solution to what they're looking for, right? So, yes, we want to do this, right? And we want to also be able to fund our lifestyle. We want to be able to spend more time with our family, spend more time with our children, spend more time doing the things we love to do. If you have a spiritual practice, to do that. If you love to travel, if you like to do XYZ, whatever the case is, you want to be able to get those things done. And you're really looking for a solution to be able to do that, right? So, all right, so we kind of that cover, right? Hopefully we're on the same type of mindset and belief there. And beta launches using Facebook ads allows us to do that. Allows us to be able to see, hey, where do I need to focus on in order to make this scalable? In order to make this even convert at a good level where I'm getting a return back on my ad spend. And typically there's a process with that is we may get a 1x return, a 0x return, a 10x, a 5x. We don't know until we actually go into actually doing it. So the other caveat is you've already done research. Like, this is not just a wild, random beta course idea you have. You've done market research. You've talked to people. You connect with people, and you know that, hey, this is a solution to a challenge, a pain, a problem you have. And I create something that's awesome. I create something that's great, and I can actually help you to, achieve X results, like really and truly. Okay, so when we have those on there, let's talk a little bit now about the actual goals. What do we want to do for a beta launch? Now, typically, depending on your price point, I really think you should have something about $297 and above. You can really do any price point you want, whether that's if you're doing a membership, for example. Obviously, your price is going to be a little bit different. But if you're doing a membership, package up a 6-month or a yearly deal, right? Something that can give someone an opportunity to actually make a big of a commitment. And also you can actually do something more high ticket. So a six month program that could be $297 for 6 months, or work that math out. However it's gonna, if you're doing a $39 a month program, you got to do the math on that. But this is what's gonna allow you to get a big enough return back on your investment. Okay, so those are a couple things we want to talk about here. So let's talk about the goals really for this, right? So what is going to be that goal? If it's 10 people coming into a program, and let's run some math. If you have a $500 offer and you want to get 10 people in, that's $5,000 in sales. That would be coming in. Let me just run the math, make sure I know that math. I'm pretty good at math, but I have to use a calculator sometimes myself, right? So essentially, in order to get 10 people into a program, if we're going to go by, let's say, universal conversion rates, that's about a 3, typically or a live launch, you want to get a good 3 to 5% conversion rate, because that shows, hey, this is now when I can scale. Now, the first time you do it, you may get a 1.5, you may get a 2, you may get a 0, unfortunately. But we want to be able to get that conversion rate of 3 to 5%, because that puts us in a category where we can scale now, meaning that we have really flexibility to really get a huge return back on our investment. So if your potential is going to be to potentially make $5,000 in sales, right? You have to look at this. Okay, well, I can also be able to, you could push organically to get 10 people, or a part of the 10 people, and you can use your ads as well to also get 10 of those people. So when we break this down, right? So let's say we're going to go with 3%. So that means if you have 100 leads, you're going to convert about 3 people into the program. Right, that's just kind of how it works. So now you need to, kind of reverse engineer this. And if I want to convert 10 people, that's going to be 350 leads that you want to get. Now, that can sometimes be a big of a challenge if you're just doing that organically, and that is where advertising comes in, because you got to couple this with your organic strategy to be able to generate and get closer to the amount of leads you need in order to get the conversion you want. Now, to be honest with you, at $500, the conversion rate typically can be much higher. We're doing 3% and above on offers that are $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, right? So at $500, but I want to be realistic, right? It's if you've never done it before, you potentially have things you have to work out in your money mindset, right? The things that you have to believe that you can ask for the money that you're asking for the course you create. Or even if you haven't created a course yet and you're doing pre-selling, you're pre-selling it before you create it, there are little mindset shifts that you want to start making, right? First off, the one thing I want to say is definitely want to, if you need to convince yourself or tell yourself or, believe in the fact that it is okay to ask for money for providing a solution to a problem, right? That is something that's 100% okay. I think a lot of people can get caught up in that, or thinking that potentially it may be selfish or wrong or this, that, or the third. Think about, what is your belief? So I'm just talking about things that I've heard people say before. And if you don't believe that, that's great. But what are the beliefs that you have to work out? Because if you didn't have a potential belief holding you back, you would have already done it, and have done it multiple times, right? And if that's the case, then boom, hey, we're fantastic. We're going to probably, if you've already done it and you don't have those beliefs and you eliminated them and you say, hey, I'm ready to go, and 3%, we're going to, I'm aiming to get 5, 6, 7, 8% conversion rate, because I know this offer is good. The price point's there, approaching it with that mindset of, hey, we're going to do this and we're not going to hold back on it, right? So about 350 leads, now that could potentially take quite a bit of money depending on what your cost per lead is, and every single person's cost per lead is different. So we never want to go into this saying, hey, I got to put enough money into ads to get this many leads, right? Because the thing is, if you run ads, if you haven't established, let's say you haven't established $5 cost per lead, 5 times 350, that's $1,750. Now you got to ask yourself, how much are you willing to experiment with for this better launch? And if that's 500, that's fine. If that's 1,000, that's fine. Because, again, you're going to be doing this multiple ways, right? But you're going to use ads as a way to help propel you. And you're going to be able to look at it and say, okay, do I have a scalable offer? Am I converting people from my ads? Does this launch convert overall, right? Because if you're going to repeat it, it's one of those things where we want to maximize conversions from all the leads that we have, right? So set those goals in place. Let's say, what a conversion rate? Let's aim for the 3%. That's the way to go. That's a great goal to have. Do the reverse the math on that. 3% of how many leads will you need in order to get, in order to get the leads, in order to get that conversion rate, right? So I'm sorry, in order to hit your goal of how many people are going to join your program or join your course, your beta course, okay? So the next thing that you want to do from there is to set a budget. Like, how much are you willing to experiment with in order to prove and test this concept to see if you will, and what needs to really, what do you have to focus on? Whether it's, hey, I got to focus on my messaging, I got to focus on this, that, or the third, or you hit it out the park and it's boom, I don't got to focus on nothing. What I got to focus on is, how much am I willing to now spend to scale this up? Okay, so whichever mindset you're at is totally cool, and it's gonna work, right? So the next part of this is to really talk about the key components of a successful Facebook ads strategy for beta launches, and a couple of things here. Really, number one is your systems and the tools you're using. You want to make sure it is 100% operational, meaning that your landing pages are loading great, looks good, things like that. Or you have a platform where you can build a landing page that looks great and looks amazing and it converts really well. And because this is where you're going to be using ads to invite people, whether that's a automated presentation or you got to discuss and think about what's the best way to go about that. So one of the key components here again too is to be able to develop what's called a conversion event. A conversion event is where you're going to use to launch this beta. So this could be a live webinar, a masterclass, a challenge, and depending on where your target audience is and what you need to tell them in order for them to convert, you got to think about, hey, is a webinar or a masterclass or a workshop, how do I need to structure that to give them the information they need in order to not only can I nurture and capture their attention, but to build trust and also get them to convert. This is why challenges can perform sometimes way better than a webinar. Same topic, but broken down over 5 days. It gives the lead the opportunity to go from unknown competence, where they just have no idea what you're talking about, don't even know the problem exists, to now realizing, oh wow, this is the true problem I'm facing, the real problem I'm facing. And now they could make a decision to join the program to solve that problem. Whereas webinars can do the same thing, and webinars work great for a lower ticket. So if you have something that's 500 or below, or a membership or something like that, webinars are amazing for that, because there's really not sometimes a whole lot of discussion that needs to really happen to get that conversion. Okay, so landing page needs to be pretty spot on. Designed really well, with a big emphasis on the headline. Now, this goes into all your market research. I'm going to talking about the technical aspects of it. I'm not going to go into the visuals and the actual messaging of it. Just technically speaking, you have to be able to create a good landing page that looks great on mobile, that you can collect name, email address, and that you can also have a CRM system, an email system, to be able to communicate with them. And again, this is why I'm saying you potentially have done this before, because all this foundation has probably been laid out in a previous launch that you can mimic. Either you can literally duplicate the landing page and make your edits, duplicate the email sequence, or you have an idea of how to build it out to make it work and make it efficient, right? So landing page, form to collect name, email address, potentially phone number, ideally phone number if you could, and then also have a thank you page that they get to, where you're also able to put a video. Very important. I do need you to put a video on that thank you page. For a number of reasons. I'll get into that in a future time, but those are, and then lastly, email system to be able to send emails, to be able to nurture in preparation for your conversion event. Okay, and then other than that, you also do need to have your beta program fleshed out, meaning that how are you going to be looking to sell this? Is it going to be booking a call where you talk to people over the phone? And again, if it's for a low ticket product, I do recommend having a sales page. For beta programs, you can literally just use a Google Doc sales page where you just have the copy written out, the information written out. I've seen this work. It doesn't have to be extra fancy, but the higher the price point you're asking for, typically you do potentially may want to have a full sales page, things like that. I do recommend having a sales page for it. and a way for them to purchase that, right? So again, if you've done launches in the past, you already have these things, you already know what I'm talking about. You can move into Facebook ads a little bit more easily because now you're not so concerned and worried about those foundational pieces. Now you can move into the ads, okay? So once that's done, you need to make sure that your Facebook pixel is installed and set up, because that's going to help with tracking. That is a critical component. If we cannot track, we cannot get results, and we need to be able to track, right? So this all goes into the planning phase of it. Get your Facebook ad account created if not already, your business manager account created if not already, and get the Facebook pixel installed. Just side note, if you need help with that, you can always hire us to do a ad account setup. Typically takes about an hour to hour and a half. So you can always shoot us an email saying, hey, I need an ad account setup. And what I'll do is I'll send you a link to be able to schedule that. So we can sit together, we'll talk over Zoom, we'll be able to share a screen, make sure everything's all set up, all the tracking's in place, and that you're good to go to start running ads. It's just a little foundational thing. So you can have that good to go. Okay, so side note there. So those are some of the key components. There's really critical pieces of it. The next thing is going to be just some other things that are learnable, but the ability to create basic graphics or to follow templates, and then also to be able to write ad copy, which can be done a number of ways. AI is great, but AI can also not give the full context, so be able to use AI and potentially also edit it on your own too as well. So those are a couple of the key components there. Just your systems. So website system to be able to build landing page, collect, form to collect, email address, thank you page, email CRM system, and then get your Facebook ad account, business manager, and pixel set up, right? So I actually have a book coming out where I break down the entire launch process. It's called the Six Figure Coach Facebook Ad Blueprint. And that's going to be coming out soon. So that's going to go into a lot more advanced strategies, some visuals of how to actually create and set up the ads. Something I can't do over a podcast. I can't literally walk you through how to set up an ad. A little more visual process. So that's going to be it for right now. I just really wanted to talk about the planning process of it here. Before I leave you, there is one last piece of this is going to be the timeline. The timeline you want to do this. So a typical beta launch can typically span around about 45 days. Right? From beginning to end. And a lot of the time before day 45 to about day 30, day 25 is really spent just fleshing out your entire beta course outline, things like that. So if you already have those in place, you can start now going into the next phase of building out your come up with the topic for your masterclass, your conversion event, whatever you're going to do, then building out everything for it, building out the landing page, the form, the thank you page, the email sequence, all that stuff. And then starting about 10 days now, 10 to 14 days before the actual conversion event is where you start loading up your ads to run. About 5 days before, you start heavily promoting organically to your audience. Of course, you tease them beforehand, but you start promoting heavily to your audience organically, and you work on scaling. And I'm breaking all this down in the book that's going to be coming up. I'll break down the entire process there so it's more clear, it's visually clear, easily understandable. But I just really want to talk about some of these planning pieces here. Okay, so with that being said, I will be dropping the part 2 and part 3 of this series, so that way you can follow along, so you can kind of get a really great idea of really what it takes to have a successful beta launch leveraging Facebook ads, so you can move quicker into having a course that is scalable. So again, if you ever need hands-on support with any of these, don't forget you can always schedule a free strategy call. We'll see what's best for us to work together. Just go to arfanhussein.com/start, fill out a short application, find a time on the calendar, and let's sit down, let's talk, and let's see how we can potentially work together to help you map out your beta launch. Or if you're beyond beta and you're like, Arfa, man, I'm beyond beta, I had a program, I want to scale. Let's talk. Let's see what we can do to help you scale it. With that being said, I will catch you on the next episode. Thank you all so much. Have a great one.